The angst of the other has persisted through time and continues to haunt us to this day. The self-conscious reflection induced by the gaze of another can be painful as we are forced to realize that who we are is not strictly in our control, since the perception of who we are is generated in the minds of others. Often, this produces in people the egoic desire to control their perception, put on a character, present a good face, or manipulate narratives about them. But these attempts are futile. They neglect the fundamental reality that we are not in control of our perceived self. But who are we, beyond the perception we endure? Is there truly an authentic, unique self that we can understand? These existential questions can't be neatly answered. While we may see the world from a singular ego, the unconscious reality informing that ego is fractured into different concepts and selves. Our constellation of self is, however, most realized in the process of experimentation with different people and experiences. By interacting with others and coming to know them, we begin to understand ourselves in relation to them. We distinguish what we like and dislike about them and thus discover what we like and dislike within ourselves. Socializing is the most potent mechanism for self-discovery. The internet has inflamed all these anxieties and produced a conflagration which has desolated our modern psyches. We are deeply alienated not only from others but from the physical world itself through the hyper-real presentation of digital experiences. We find ourselves drowning in a sea of anonymous strangers whose validation is craved and vitriol inevitable, rendering us in a neurotic state of validation seeking. This ocean of others further destabilizes the mind. Darkest of all, this psychosis is highly profitable and encouraged by the most powerful corporations in history. They feed us a constant supply of algorithmic intoxicants which overstimulate the mind until it reaches a burnout state of learned, helpless boredom. Thus, we find ourselves captured in the hyper-real prison. In the physical world, human estrangement produces angst, but presents an opportunity. In the process of coming to know a stranger, we deepen our knowledge of ourselves. This is only possible because of the vulnerability involved in coming to know someone. You must expose yourself if you expect another person to open up. But this wouldn't be possible in a world where our interactions are walled off by anonymity. The anonymity of most corners of the internet creates a new dynamic. Getting close to another presents more of a risk as there is no guarantee of mutuality in the exchange. The concept of a username illustrates this phenomena. Most social websites will request users give them a name, often recommending that it be separate from their legal or preferred name. Hiding behind an alias, people can feel more secure that others won't be able to trace their digital activities back to them. In fact, discovering a person's genuine identity is considered a grave offense and can present a security risk to the doxed person. The maliciousness of online interactions can be understood in the context of a prison. Prisoners are often predisposed to be more aggressive, especially when kennelled into poor conditions. They hold no allegiance to other inmates unless they belong to their gang or group, and thus are more prepared to be cruel and violent towards them. This manifests online in the form of communities where people use their anonymity as a cloak to attack people with more clout or exposure that they dislike. In the dog-eat-dog world, no one can genuinely connect and build a closeness which promotes growth. Instead, they become more antisocial, tribalistic, and cruel. The internet not only alienates us from others, it creates a hallucination of reality so enticing we lose ourselves in its complexity. The hyperreal is a concept proposed by Jean Baudrillard. He felt that society was moving in a direction where humans were less connected with their physical environment. To illustrate his concept, picture a film. Seated in an audience, a crowd of people stare at a flat and featureless screen in the dark. But projected on this screen are images of life. Grand heroes and villains fight in fantastical landscapes which grip the attention of the viewers, compelling them to stay fixed in their seats. The images displayed are realistic enough to be plausible and compelling enough that people stay. After the film, the audience rises and leaves, talking amongst themselves about the exploits of the film they just saw. The experience of viewing a film shows how hypnotic, curated spectacle can be on the human psyche. Rather than spending time in the physical world, people witness a representation of that world which is more fantastic, more exciting, and almost more real. The moment fantasy begins to feel more real than reality is when we find ourselves in the grip of the hyper-real. The internet produces near infinite experiences of hyperreality, which is part of what makes it so addicting. Why go socialize when you can watch a streamer live their life and feel like you're right there with them? Why go have sex and build a relationship when there are millions of pornographic videos and photos to titillate you online? Why live in the physical world when the digital is so much more real and exciting? This is the danger of the hyper-real. Our minds are vulnerable to the ecstasy of unlimited content, especially when algorithms are psychologically designed to engage your emotions and control your attention. This new domain has presented itself as fertile soil for capital extraction. Almost all of the value of the internet is produced by individual users who provide their time and energy for free. The immense amount of content created on a daily basis in the form of posts, videos, and comments has most recently been exploited by AI companies which mine the contributions of millions of people with not a cent being provided for that labor. It may be strange to think of our data and content as worth compensation, but it is a valuable commodity that requires time and attention to produce. In other words, the labor of the internet's users is being used for profit by massive corporations without paying the laborers. Sure, some content creators make a wage from AdSense and subscription services, but this is in no way comparable to the vast profits extracted by Silicon Valley. The small few who can earn a living do not justify the exploitation of the masses. Your data should be understood as your property, which you lend out for a fee. It can be claimed that the low cost of internet experiences is a form of compensation, but this is a hollow charade of an argument. The low cost is subsidized by the exploitation of all users. In any other market, this would be intolerable. Not only is our data mined for profit, our psyche is also being extracted as a valuable resource. Human attention and emotion is being studied in depth by social media corporations to better understand how to develop algorithms capable of gripping users' minds. This invasive dissection of human psychology is producing a toxic effect on society. More and more inmates are formed who are anonymous, addicted, and angry, which unleash that energy into the real world through politics and social warfare. The escalation of political vitriol, creation of culture wars, and rise in violence are symptoms of a culture which is losing empathy and connection with those who comprise it. As we spiral into the abyss of lawless tribalism, social media and AI companies collect their sinful profits. It may not be possible to completely escape the prison of our hyper-real world. So much of life is intertwined with the internet that a pre-internet society has long been impossible to restore. Rather, we must pursue a post-internet society. A society where emphasis is made to remove the anonymity of most internet activity, making people more exposed and conscious of their actions and consumption. Where algorithms are regulated to prevent the worst excesses of psychic exploitation. Where just compensation is given to the people who build the value of the internet and artificial intelligence. And where we finally awaken to the reality that our obsession with the hyper-real has rotted the core reality it emerged from, which we all live within. Government bodies need to catch up to the technology of today and make new regulations which protect their citizens from exploitation. This project will require the minimization of living online in favor of rebuilding the spaces of connection where strangers become friends and lovers. The internet isn't evil, but it is dangerous. Like fire, it has the potential to ravage as well as fuel society. Its owners need to be reined in and punished for their wanton disregard of the damage their profit-seeking has produced. In the prison of the hyperreal, the only true escape is this: waking up, ending the hypnotic dream and facing the coldness of reality. For that cold never left. We were just made numb to it. Thank you for watching.